So as some of you may know, the iPhone 13, which was an iPhone that came out back in 2021, one of my most favorite iPhones of all time, this iPhone is pretty much on its last leg of sales, meaning that Apple is pretty much no longer going to be selling this thing as far as we know fairly soon. So basically tomorrow, there's a very high likelihood Apple is pretty much going to go ahead and discontinue the iPhone 13 when Apple goes ahead and announces and releases the iPhone 16s. Now, I love the iPhone 16s, from what we've seen, from what we've heard from the rumors. I think these are going to be killer devices, but it is a pretty sad thing that the iPhone 13, one of the most beloved iPhones of all time, is pretty much going to be gone. Now, I think this is the right decision by Apple. I think it makes a lot of sense for them to do this. But again, it is a very, very sad thing that's going to end up happening. Now, number one, this was an iPhone that came out back in 2021, and this was an iPhone that looked very good. I thought it was a beautiful phone when it first came out, and it was a very good quality device too. Like, this thing, for the most part, had a lot of quality, had a lot of stuff going for it. And I definitely do think if you're going to go through and buy a phone, this was a very good, solid option. At $599, was a very, very good device in my personal opinion. Now, on top of that, some other big things to keep in mind here is that with something like the iPhone 13, the build quality of this thing was still fairly similar to an iPhone 15. Clearly, there were some differences, like the iPhone 15 wasn't, it's way better than the iPhone 13. But the 13, I think with its display still being the same size and with the flat sides and everything like that, that was a very good type of build quality, I would say, for the most part on the iPhone 13. I'd also say that on top of those things, with the iPhone 13, this was a very powerful phone at that as well. Like, the sheer power that this thing had was actually pretty impressive. And I really did think that if you were going to go through and pick up a phone, this thing was a very solid option from that side. I mean, I definitely do think if you were going to go through and pick up a device, I really do think Apple did a really good job with the power of this thing. And by giving it the A15 Bionic, this thing basically was the same power as the iPhone 14. And the iPhone 15 is really only like one generation of chipset newer than the iPhone 13. So that in and of itself was another crazy thing going on for this device too. I think there were a lot of other things when you look at this iPhone of why it pretty much still is performing at pretty decent levels. And even with an iOS 18, this iPhone pretty much got all the major features, I would say, with an iOS 18 minus Apple Intelligence that iOS 18 brought, which again was another very nice and cool thing going on for this device too. So I definitely do think, in my personal opinion, there is a lot of quality and a lot of stuff going on for the iPhone 15. I love this phone. I think it's a very, very good device, and I would still recommend buying it. I just probably would recommend wait until the iPhone 16 comes out. So that pretty much covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that will mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.